Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday, right? It is Wednesday. Wednesday webinars day. So welcome to, I think, our annual. This is our third year collabing with the fabulous practice business experts, Leslie Battelle and EatLove. I know we have a wonderful community out there who's probably tuned into all of our webinars that we've done. And today we're going to focus on automation and the top level of Leslie's profit pyramid, as well as the bottom level. They work really well hand in hand to get those members in the funnel and up to that top tier, but then also a consistent recurring group of members that you can just pull from at any one point in time. Last year we did the middle tier. So if you like what we talk about today, we do have the recording of last year's session. That was the middle, the workhorse programs, that membership piece of it. But for those of you that are new to EatLove and new to me, my name is Ali Zozos. I'm EatLove lead dietitian and I run member success, really help you launch your practice with EatLove. And I can think of very few people that are as fabulous at doing this as Leslie is. So she is kind and gracious enough to volunteer her time to our community today to go into a bit more detail with that business building aspect. So I will pass the floor over to you. We'll start with some slides today. We're going to talk about automation and a brief little EatLove demo if time allows. So let's share that. Right here.
All right. Thanks, Ali. Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome. I do want to just thank Ali and EatLove for the invitation. I love spending time talking with this group of people. Such an amazing group. And so really appreciate that. Looking forward to our chat today because I think we have kind of a interesting perspective to share with you. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in. What I want to do is start by giving you an overview of the concept of multiple streams of income in your practice. And of course, who doesn't want this, right? We all do. But sometimes the challenge is implementing, right? Because it can be confusing, overwhelming, and it can just be hard to know where to start and how to implement. So hopefully after today, we are going to put some of those concerns to rest so that you can actually implement this in the upcoming year. So first and foremost, let's dig into the concept multiple streams of income with an emphasis on the benefits to you and your audience. So I do want to start by saying this model, I think one of the biggest benefits is this is the model that allows you to serve more people in less time, right? And who doesn't want that? And since you have several different offerings at varying price points, this allows you to serve people where they are at, right? So you might have some people that come in and want to dip their toe. They're maybe not ready for the full program, and that's okay, right? By having multiple offers at any given time, it allows you to meet people where they are in terms of their commitment and their ability to jump in to the program. All right, it also allows you to maximize the use of your time by moving from solely one-on-one, right, to the one-to-many model. So we call this the one-to-many model. And this is, pretty self-explanatory. It's where you're serving more people in any given hour, right? So one-to-one, obviously that's just one-to-one work. One-to-many implies you're serving many people in that same given hour. And what this allows you to do is to make more revenue in any given hour as compared to the one-on-one model. And the bottom line here, the take home is it means unlimited potential for both income as well as the number of people that you're able to serve. Because at a certain point in our traditional model, let's be honest, we run out of time, right? We eventually will hit that ceiling where we just don't have any more time to sell, right? And that's where this multiple streams of income model can be so incredibly helpful. All right, so let's go on to the next one. Again, here I just really want to to emphasize that the ultimate benefit with the multiple streams of income model is that this is the way that this is the method that allows you to scale, right? This allows you to bring your business to scale. Again, serving unlimited numbers of people, allowing you to make a much more significant impact in the world, and unlimited revenue as well. All right. And the other little thing that is, I think, worth mentioning is it also does allow you to potentially hire other people to work for you in your practice. So that actually is another way of scaling. So let's talk about the profit pyramid. Some of you are probably familiar with this based on my, any prior workshops and talks. And as Ali mentioned, last year, we focused on the middle part of the profit pyramid. And today we are going to be talking about the top end and the bottom. So like kind of the opposite ends of the profit pyramid. The reason I love this model so much is I like to use it to design your business and as a tool to kind of build out and outline your different multiple streams of income, at those varying levels. So it's a really handy tool to help us really at the end of the day to help you to plan your business. Now, again, some of you might be somewhat familiar with this concept as a result of my other trainings. Nonetheless, let's just do a quick review for those of you that need it. So the purpose of the profit pyramid is to outline the different types and levels of services that you're going to offer your audience, and it's at varying price points so that you, at the end of the day, you've got a little something for everyone. And I'm going to show you where online courses and programs fit, as well as, potentially passive income products. All right, so here we go. This is the big picture. Now, the important thing to note here is that we start with free at the base of our profit pyramid, and we work our way up. So the level A, or the very tippy top, private clients, obviously, this is our kind of our VIP level offer. So the price level goes up as we work our way up the profit pyramid. And the thing that I want to emphasize here is this increase in price point is dependent upon probably two variables. One is the amount of access that your client gets to you. So obviously in a private client type of setting, typically, depending on, especially if you're working in programs and packages, the access will be higher as compared to like a webinar or, an online course, right? And therefore that commands a higher price point. And the other variable to consider is the degree of personalization, right? So typically in like a course, a webinar series, that kind of a thing, or even a home study, there's probably not any significant degree of personalization that you actually do for the client, right? So therefore that higher level, that private client level, is going to come at a higher price. Ali, would now be a good time to do our little survey?
I think so.
All right.
So we have two polls for you today. And the first one, first and foremost, is which one best describes you? There's two options, and it's the a la carte option, or which we're referring to as one-off sessions, or packages. You buy a group of sessions, or memberships, a recurring model that is charging your patients on a monthly or 3-month basis, whatever that member recurring price is. Some surprising results here. I'm surprised. Yeah.
Oh, so interesting. What a great feature.
Very interesting.
Okay. All right. Well, so fun. Oh, okay. All right. Oh,
it's moving.
It updates fast. And then it changed. Okay. But it is kind of close.
Kind of. And also for packages, because I do see a place for packages that are timed like a membership. So it's functioning like a membership, but there's like a set number of one-on-one sessions in that membership that they may have with you. So I think either like those could go kind of hand in hand. And if that's the case, I would say that's more of a membership than necessarily a package where it's just 6 sessions and that's really all they're getting.
Okay. Okay. So based on what I'm seeing, it looks like most people are working in the a la carte option. So the one-off session. Some of you are working in the program package model, which is great. And then some of you are working in the membership model. But probably, yeah, it looks like the majority are in the a la carte option. Okay, the good news about that, you guys, is that you have a ton of opportunity. You have a ton of opportunity, seriously. So in terms of, being able to potentially shift into offering like programs and packages as a first step in your business model, right? So again, part of my goal for our time together today is to help you to prioritize, because I acknowledge that it can be a little bit overwhelming, really making these decisions and knowing, what steps should I make first? What should I focus on at any given time? Okay, so this is super helpful.
And
Good
then,
news. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, we have one more poll that we can use sort of this graphic right here to go off of, and just getting an idea of what memberships you are, what levels you already have built out. So you're very top. So if you're doing one-off sessions, that could be a one-on-one offer, but we want to put it in a package. We want to program that. Membership model would be that recurring. Maybe you have a course that you've developed that you sell that's very passive after you've put that work in at the front. And then group program would kind of be that hybrid where it's a one-to-many model where you're doing maybe a little bit of one-on-one stuff with them, but it's more in that group setting. Or maybe you have all levels. Maybe you're, sitting pretty there at the all sections, which I think is ideal for everyone watching today, myself included. I know is definitely something that we want to have, because multiple revenue streams allows us to scale our practice once we have that automation in place and can do a lot of the things that we would need to do. And that's what I'm going to get into a bit later, is that automation piece of how you can do all of these, because it may seem overwhelming, but you'll be really surprised when you're able to free up some of that one-on-one, one-off time to actually put a program in place. So excited to hear what else Leslie has.
Yeah. Okay. Love it. All right. So most people are providing some degree of one-on-one service, which is great. Guys, I'll just say, if you're in the a la carte model, which I know some of you are, I would say that's your area of opportunity. That would probably be a great first step, is to bundle that into even a 6, 8, or 12-week program, right? And you're just basically bundling what you're currently doing and asking that client to really step in and make a little bigger commitment focused on achieving those desired results, right? So that's where I would start if you are in the a la carte model. So some of you are moving right along and you've got several levels built out in your profit pyramid. So congratulations. Doesn't look like anyone has a group program. So at least in our audience at the present moment. So that could be a really interesting opportunity for many of you, right? So basically what we want to be doing is building out those scalable levels, right? The group programs, courses, passive income, those types of opportunities, because again, that allows you to scale. All right. Okay, great. So let's go back to the slide. So this gives you, this is the full picture. And believe me when I say there's many additional levels that we could include on this chart. But just for the sake of simplicity, these are ones that I chose. So again, we're starting with free. And remember, free content is how you access your audience. Okay, we're going to go into more detail on some examples, but essentially, this is how you get in front of your target audience. And this is where you build that know, like, and trust so that we can move them into that next step. And one really important concept, okay, you don't have to work your way directly up this funnel. Okay, I know that might sound surprising, but you really can. And I encourage you to go from free to inviting people to step into your high-end VIP one-on-one private work. Okay. There's a lot of reasons behind that, but especially if you're just kind of starting out, that's what I would recommend. The middle levels, are awesome as well. And of course, this is where they become more scalable, right? That said, there are a few more moving parts. So again, just trying to help you to prioritize. So those of you that are, relatively new to all this, I would focus on free and private, quite frankly. If you feel like you're good to go there, that's where you want to build out your scalable offers. And really, the world is our oyster. That's kind of how I look at it. There's so many cool things that we can do in the middle, but essentially the ones I chose to put on the chart would include like passive, more of a passive home study product, kind of a thing where they, your audience would just go to your website. Maybe you've got a sales funnel in place that directs traffic to that low cost offer, i.e. home study product. So we do a lot of cool things with funnels and that sort of thing to generate this. I would say is pretty close to passive income for the most part. Then next up, we've got a webinar or a masterclass series. This would be like a 6 or 8 week workshop series, right? You can do it online, you can do it in person, you can do it live, you can, pre-record. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but I would say that's kind of in the middle of your profit pyramid. And again, this is based on price point and access for the most part. And then we've got, like a high ticket signature program, or what I like to call a hybrid program, which could be like a mix of perhaps some pre-recorded content and maybe some one-on-one work, right? So that would equate to, again, what I would call a hybrid. A high ticket signature program is that is akin to taking your entire body of work, like that entire process that you take your one-on-one clients through, and you're essentially taking that, putting it into a group format, right? So it does tend to follow all the steps that you would take your one-on-one client through. So it is a more intensive experience. It's probably a little longer than, a 6-week kind of a group program. So, but just so you kind of get a sense of what the different options are. But again, to emphasize, Allie and I decided to really try to focus on the top of the profit pyramid, which is private clients, as well as your free content, with an emphasis on how can we make it easier in terms of automation. So that's what we're going to move into next. So what I want to do right now is just give you a little bit of insight in terms of how you can move forward and really build out that tippy top, that private client level of your profit pyramid. And again, we have identified that this is where the opportunity lies for many of you, right? Because as we learned from the survey that we just did, many of you are in the a la carte strategy, right? Or the business model where people just kind of come in a la carte, right? As they need. And what I would recommend, and guys, even if you're in the insurance model, I understand in the insurance model, of course, you cannot bill up front. I understand that, but we still want to have this conversation with potential clients so that they're all in, right? They're all in. They've committed to, let's say, a 90-day work experience with you where you're seeing them maybe every other week. And there's other things included, of course. Of course, we're including EatLove, right? Like the thing that I love about collaborating with Allie and the EatLove team is because it's such a great addition to every single level of your profit pyramid. It fits beautifully. And Allie's going to get into that a little bit more. But just so you know, the purpose for creating VIP level one-on-one programs is ultimately to engage people, your clients, in a full and comprehensive experience that will create sustainable change versus the one session at a time model, which can create sustainable change, but sometimes, let's be honest, it's a little more challenging. And why is that? Because change is hard, right? Change is really, really hard. So, it just is challenging. Like someone comes in, what tends to happen, I see this all the time, is we get a new client and we just completely over deliver on that first session. and maybe they come back for a second, right? But we just dump everything on them the first and second session. And then we wonder, gosh, why are they not coming back? Well, chances are pretty good there was an issue because they got overwhelmed, right? They feel like a failure. They can't implement every single thing that you kind of shared with them in that first or second session. So what I'm recommending is that we spread this out, right? We don't expect people to make all of these really difficult lifestyle and dietary changes overnight. And that is really why a comprehensive one-on-one program can really fit the bill. And this is just an example. I wanted you guys to have an example of what that would look like. And this is kind of, so the way I like to set this up is imagine that you are the client. Let's say you're really, really struggling, hypothetically. Let's say you've got a couple of autoimmune disorders, just hypothetically. And let's say you've got a little brain fog and IBS to boot, right? Like not feeling very good. All right. So let's say you go see a practitioner. Would you rather that practitioner say, okay, we're going to, choice one is that you come in kind of whenever you feel like it. Okay. Whenever you is convenient, you come in. All right. So that's option one. Or option two, what if that practitioner said, all right, I get where you are. I understand where you want to go. And here's what I've got for you to get you to those endpoints that you desire. I have a program, right? I've got a 90-day program, and here's what we're going to do in that 90 days, right? It includes a detailed assessment, right? It includes a 90-minute kickstart session, and that's designed to really help you to hit the ground running. It includes 2 45-minute sessions a month, and these sessions are designed to help you to really stay on track, stay motivated, etc. Right? It includes, meal planning with recipes, and that you get to access on your own through the EatLove platform. It includes an educational library. Like, guys, a lot of the stuff you're already doing. So what we're doing is we're bundling it up and we're packaging it as a mechanism to help your client get from point A, which is struggling, all the way to point B, which are those desired outcomes. All right. So I love this slide because it really kind of illustrates, like, I think I'd pick option B. If I was really, really struggling, right? I think probably most of us would be like, yeah, I think option B is going to fit the bill a little bit better than, kind of like sessions whenever. All right. So that's the main point there. Now I'm going to jump to the bottom of the profit pyramid because this is where I want to talk a little bit about AI. All right. Now, the truth is, well, AI, I think, can fit throughout this profit pyramid. But anyway, let's talk about the free stuff, what that could be, what that means, and then we'll segue into a conversation around automation and AI. All right. So again, the bottom of the pyramid, this is your free stuff. And these are the things that you'll do. And probably you're going to have a variety of things at this level that you offer. I'm going to give you some examples, but please do note to yourself that the ultimate purpose is to develop that all-important sense of know, like, and trust with your audience, right? We want to give them a little taste of what we do, what we're all about, and hopefully entice them to move to that next step, whatever that next step is in your client journey and your profit pyramid. But the next step generally is a paid step, right? So in order for people to feel comfortable in, taking out their wallets and investing, we do need to develop a degree of know, like, and trust. It's just the way it works, especially in this online world, right? So things are a little different nowadays as compared to when everything was kind of brick and mortar. All right. All right. So at the end of the day, your free content, it's all about lead generation. These are all tactics that allow you to connect with your ideal clients and develop know, like, and trust. And typically at this bottom of your pyramid, I would say typically it's free. Now, sometimes It's very low cost. So, there could be some very low cost things in this level as well. For example, if you did like, for example, like a challenge, right? Like a lot of my clients will do like a 3 or 4 day challenge that leads to an upsell, such as a group program. I would say in most cases, the challenge is going to be free. However, sometimes we say, you know what? Let's try to attract buyers here. And so maybe we charge a nominal fee to get in, right? But it's still the same level, free or very low cost. And again, the end result that we're looking for is lead gen. So I'm just going to quickly go through this list. My hope is that and believe me, this is not, there are so many more options. I just tried to squeeze in as many things as I could squeeze in on a slide or two. All right, you've got your website. Hopefully it's SEO optimized. This is a way to generate leads. Hopefully, or if you're not doing it yet, this is a great next step, is to write a blog, right? Do a blog, and you can transition your blog. You can turn it into a newsletter, which is what we do in my business, right? Direct emails to your list. This develops that know, like, and trust. They get used to hearing from you. Social media. Social media is probably not the end all be all, at least not in my mind, but oh my gosh, social media can greatly expand your reach. You are able to reach people on some of these platforms that you otherwise just wouldn't, it would be impossible. So it does give you a huge opportunity if you leverage it. You could do, like I said, online challenges. We touched on that. Online directories is another great way to access your audience. Guys, I love speaking events, either in person or online. That is one of my personal favorite ways to grow my email list and to, get in front of my audience. And I teach my clients how to do that as well. You could do like a monthly Q&A event. You could do live streams, which I'm a huge fan of as well. I have a weekly live stream every single Thursday. You could do a joint venture. So an example of a joint venture is what I'm doing here with Allie and EatLove, right? So what you do there is you look around and say, who else is serving my target audience, right? Who else is serving my same audience, perhaps in a different way? And those, anyone that you identify is potentially a great opportunity for a joint venture. The value exchange, that last bullet point, that's basically your freebie. And so the idea is that you would have something of value, like a free resource, and in return for sharing that free resource, you build your email list. All right. So those are just a few examples. Now what I want to do is just have a quick conversation around how we can leverage AI to help you in potentially creating free content, because I really do think it can be helpful with a few caveats. And so if we're to break this down into step by step, obviously your first step is to open a free account. And probably the most common AI platform is ChatGPT at this point. And so I've shared the link on the slide if you would like to go open a free account. Note there is a paid version of ChatGPT. From what I can understand, this enables internet browsing for the inclusion of newer data and information. So that might be important to you. Personally, I just use the free version, but I think you can do an awful lot with it. And after you open your account, you just start playing with it and asking GPT different questions in the form of prompts. And the one thing I will say is the better your prompt, the better your output. Okay. So here are just a few ideas on how you can leverage AI for content creation. Really the sky's the limit. Again, I just tried to fit as much as I could on one slide for you. But these are things that that I just wanted to point out are possible. So, like, let's say you wanted to use GPT to help you to write a blog. So you could definitely, I would start by asking, working on an outline. Okay, this comes from some experience in my world in utilizing and leveraging AI to help with blog content. What I have found is it's really helpful. Like, I haven't had a lot of success in just saying, hey, write me a blog on such and such topic, right? It just doesn't, it's just not quality. It kind of rambles. I always say, like, when I've done that, the output I get is like a mile wide and in a centimeter deep, right? It's just surface level. It's just not good. So what I have found is, work on the outline first and then get it to kind of work on each section independently. One thing that we do all the time is we take my most popular blogs and turn it into a YouTube script. Okay. So that is pretty easy to do on ChatGPT. Of course, you can use it to help you get your freebies done, like your ebook. And just remember, you want to include an intro, the actual meat, like the content, and an outro, bio, and call to action. Actually, I got to tell you, I've not done this personally, but I've seen lots of AI generated graphics and images like that you can use for like YouTube thumbnails and things like that. I have heard that you can use ChatGPT to help you to speed up your chart notes. Okay. So that, I mean, I hear that all the time from my clients, like, oh my God, I'm spending so much time. I always use chat. Actually, I use Grammarly. So Grammarly is another, and Grammarly, I pay for it. I think they probably have a free version, but I tend to run my stuff through Grammarly just to edit the grammar, add that punctuation that I might have overlooked and things like that. So like most of the promo emails that we create, I run it through just to make sure, oopsie. So I think that could be a great option. Idea generation, for like headlines, social media caption, ChatGPT is great for that, including emojis. And you can also use it to help you to organize a whole bunch of data, right, into a usable format, i.e., a CVS type of format. So, I mean, really, the sky's the limit. I'm barely scratching the surface. A few tips on how to go about writing clear prompts, because again, the higher quality your prompts, oh my gosh, the higher quality your output. Really cannot emphasize that enough. So if you're just being really vague, like, hey, write me a blog on, how to eat healthier. Oh my God, it is not going to turn out well, right? You got to be really, really specific. So here's a few tips to increase the clarity for good prompts. Number one, offer context to your question. All right. So for example, like a basic prompt might be, okay, write about how to house train a dog. Kind of vague, right? A better prompt might be, okay, pretend you're a professional dog trainer and write an email to a new student who has a 2-month-old Labrador retriever about activities they should do to house train their puppy. Okay, do you see how much more specific it is? And I've also given the ChatGPT a role. I'm saying, pretend you're a dog trainer. Okay. All right. Next, just try to include all relevant information. So, like, if you are wanting, and let's just say you're asking for an updated bio, well, you want to make sure you include like maybe your LinkedIn bio or your CV. Like, they got to work off of something, right? Or ChatGPT does. So include relevant information. You can also include pertinent examples of what you want it to look like versus what you don't want it to look like, right? So keep that in mind as well. You want to give parameters like the duration, length, word count, for example. So like, let's say you want a summary of an article. You could say, I want a 500 word summary. Or let's say you're going to turn your blog post into a YouTube script. You can say, turn this into a 15-minute YouTube script that includes the following components, right? Like a hook, introduction, 3 main takeaway points, summary, and call to action, right? Like then you're going to get a great output. All right. And then you do have the ability to provide feedback for correction. So, like, if you get an output that isn't quite right, give it feedback. Tell them what you like and what you don't like, or what you want changed. So, oops. So, those are a few tips that I hope are helpful just to get you clearer prompts. And now I'm going to turn it over to Allie. Oh, wait, Allie. Okay. All right. I don't know if it's just me, but I cannot hear you.
Is that better?
Yes.
It happened earlier today. That's the thing that happened. Anyways, thank you so much, Leslie, for that introduction to AI. We're really going to carry that theme into the following slides. But I hope everyone watching today, and we'll get to some questions if we have some time at the end, but that really put into perspective, really, and I think, Leslie, you say this, is the one-to-one is your quickest path to cash. And if you are, insurance is a little bit of a different story, but if you're seeing one-on-one clients that are self-pay clients, that's a huge opportunity. And we want to be able to utilize tools and resources at our fingertips to help deliver a higher level of service. And like Leslie had shared, EatLove fits in all those levels, whether it's one-on-one, a hybrid group, which is my favorite membership personally, because you can do a lot in that group and still provide a one-on-one service. And then we have the courses, and then we have lower touch membership offers, and then we have that free content. And I use ChatGPT every day in my role and for my practice. It helps with emails. You can help get a specific tone. So if you write with a specific type of empathy or understanding, it's really good about that. And then you can always just take that and rework it. I know the hardest part for me is just getting started if I have an idea. So outlines are really great. Content is another one. You want to come up with 30 new quick little reel videos for your Instagram. Write me, and then you can keep refining that content. Give me 30 real script ideas for Mediterranean eating on a budget in the new year. Get as specific as possible. It's going to be really helpful. The one thing I want to point out here is this ideas section. There's one thing missing that I think many of you may be watching today, may be thinking, I've used EatLove for meal planning. And that's really what I want to go over today, because there are some massive implications to that if we are not careful. And what's great about that is, with EatLove and the way that we've developed our own in-house and curated it over the past, we've been around 9 years, we bypass a lot of those things that open AIs and large language models are not able to do at this present time. So let's talk a little bit about the positives. It will absolutely fundamentally change and improve the way we interact with computers. The hype train is real. We are absolutely no exception for that. Totally build an actual Jarvis now. The tools are getting better and more integrated with AI. Even with ChatGPT paid version, I think from a content creation perspective, I agree with Leslie. I don't think the paid version is necessary. From a technical perspective, if you're looking to do a lot more technical things, like in the engineering side, there is a massive difference. It's very visible that you can see. But I think for most of our purposes, the free version is going to create a lot. And actually, you can go into an older document and continue working on it. It actually does save it. And I didn't know that I've heard the same thing, like the browser erases it, but I can go back into something I did 3 months ago and continue that conversation, and we pick up right where we left off, me and the AI. The use of these kinds of tools, they have great potential to help improve quality of life, not only for ourselves, but for our patients. But we have to think of the negatives too. And I'm going to go over that in a little bit more detail. But we think that the AI alignment and steering, is it solving a critical problem? Can we rely on it to say, this is going to help me solve X, Y, and Z? There's a little bit of mismatched energy there. Super intelligence, is it going to exceed a human brain? There's not even a really definition of what super intelligence is, but can it be more powerful than what exists today? Someone will come up with this at some point. Do we have a timeline on it? Not necessarily. It could be 10 years. It could be 25 years. It could never happen. But it needs to be adequately supervised by a human. And that's where we hit the gap, the supervision piece of it, because we want to automate and scale. And we can't do that if we are letting the system do it. So think about, you are letting your pet, your cat or dog, run your dietetics practice. That's essentially what an OpenAI large language model is doing at this present state. So you really do have to go in and supervise this. So let's talk about some of those challenges on a deeper level. It can't hit nutrition targets. So this is a big one. ChatGPT, Bard, Claude, any of the other big ones, they cannot hit a nutrition target or even a calorie target dependably. So if you give it one input and you say, I want a 2,000 calorie meal plan, it's not going to give you that. It's going to feel very confident, which are known as hallucinations, where it will say with certainty, here is your 2,000 calorie meal plan, and it will spit it out. Now you add any other fancy factors to that: diabetes 2,000 calorie meal plan, diabetes 2,000 calorie meal plan that has 25 grams of fiber, and you are certainly not going to be able to hit those targets because there are always flaws. It will give you the numbers, but when you add those numbers up, you are nowhere close to where you want to be with the accuracy and the dependability of that plan. So it's convincing. It will say with certainty, here you go, this looks correct. And you're like, great. And you just pull it off. But what happens there is that we become liable. In our practices, we have liability insurance. We have that for a reason, because if we give that to a client and we don't analyze that to the nth degree of every single number that is being represented, because LLMs are not good at mental math. It's reading the previous and the after. I think it's the previous word and the word after, but it's not summarizing that at a large scale. So it's actually very dangerous for us to actually just take it at will and send it off. So we have to review it. It looks correct, but the analysis will review that there's always flaws because it simply cannot handle that mental math aspect. And that in itself stops us from that scalability. If we automate our process and then we decide, well, I have to go back and make sure that there is no error whatsoever, we have just spent the time that we would have just done it by hand in the first place. Our brain is still the most powerful tool in the universe to come up with these complex and solve these complex problems. Another flaw, just in general, is that it's not a dynamic meal plan. It's a static plan. It's not a living and breathing, in that sense, meal plan where your client can go in and engage with it. There's no flexibility with it. So what we've done at EatLove is, and I'll show you that, and many of you watching today are, members of ours, are able to see that flexibility in the way that your member can go in and say, I don't want an egg and oatmeal for breakfast. I want this berry smoothie instead. And it's still hitting those nutrition targets at the bottom foundation level. So your clients don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about it. We will show you an error sign before we show you things that hallucinate or say with certainty, this is what it is, when it actually, in fact, is very, very far from what we're looking for. Like we talked about, it requires that supervision. These AI hallucinations are a huge problem. I was playing around with Claude the other day, and it's really cool because you can upload files and you can have it summarize large articles, and even write in the tone of your own Instagram. You can put your links in and say, I want you to come up with copy for this graphic based on this tone. And it does that really well. It can formulate that, but it will with certainty tell you something that is correct. And I caught an error in it. And we were talking about whole grains. And I was like, can you give me a list of whole grains? And I just kept grilling it with question after question after question, teaching it in a way. It's actually teaching it. And then I, corrected it and said, this is not a whole grain. And it was like, you're right. And it just, takes it as is. And even with certainty, like reading it, like I'm questioning, is that right? I mean, I had to Google it just to confirm that, in fact, the computer was wrong. And my brain, was processing a little bit faster and able to draw those conclusions into a clearer message. So with that supervision, that challenge is definitely the scaling aspect of it. Another big one, actually this page in general, ethical concerns. AI can be used to improve and augment tools with that supervision, but we have to ensure bias is removed. And right now, that's not an option. We need to make sure that all populations are present for data sets and things like that. And we can't with certainty say that bias has been removed for any type of conclusion that we are trying to draw. So a huge ethical concern for that. And then I think the biggest being the privacy and compliance aspect. Critical and crucial in healthcare, we need to protect our clients' PHI. So AIs must have these types of policies in place for securing data and handling that when reading PHI. And that is not something that is available at this time. So we don't want to be putting that information in, if we're describing a client case, even if we're removing, factors that would define them. I personally wouldn't risk it. I, want to make sure my privacy is protected, my client's privacy is protected, and that data is encased in a secure bubble. And I'm referring to the EatLove bubble when talking about that. But I kind of want to just drive home that point of it is very serious. Automation is huge for not only the free funnel in, but your one-on-one clients. And if we are slowly, automating our process and then we have to verify that it's correct, we are not actually scaling. We're creating more busy work for ourselves where we don't have to do that. Of course, the privacy and of course the ethical piece of it. So let's talk a little bit about AI at EatLove. One thing I really love is that our AI is, I have these notes, give me 1 second. Our AI is an expert system. It's a little bit older, but it was chosen specifically because it bypasses a lot of these concerns, these ethical concerns, these privacy concerns, these even supervision concerns. It uses the expert system type of AI to do that. And we've been developing that ever since we started. For those of you that aren't familiar, we refer to our AI, our algorithm as Lena. She stands for Lifestyle Enhancing Nutrition Algorithm. So she is our AI at EatLove. It's adaptable and fully controllable and fully explainable. It actually shows its work. So if you want to understand more about why a meal appeared, where it appeared, it will show you work as to how it came to that conclusion, which I think is really one of the most unique things about this is that it's just not going, it's seeing that high level summary that the OpenAI is not able to do right now. We can see down to the nth degree of why something was chosen. The fully dependable aspect, it will give you a meal plan that matches your nutrition RX, or it will give you an error that will say we cannot populate a meal plan. So I'm sure some of you have run into that in the past where the workaround and solution to that is usually you just have to loosen some of your nutrition parameters or remove an avoidance or doing something that was in direct opposition of something in your plan, like asking for a very, very high protein limit, but also being vegan at the same time. So what we've done is automate your pen and paper process, and the content that is in our database is worked around all of these factors for that nutrition prescription. We talked about the secure piece of it. So we know that it is safe when we are handling data. Full data transparency. This means that we can see all the data that it's using. There's nothing hidden. It's going to show all that work as well. For the complexity, it is complex, but it's necessary to understand that complexity. It's a system of rules and algorithms that's put together to solve the end goal, where currently the free versions of things that are, open AIs and such aren't able to solve that end goal at the large scale. So lots of different things to consider here. Of course, we talked about dynamic meal planning, fully integrated into our friendly and dynamic tool. And then another piece, just mentioning integration, automation, that sort of thing, is that we have full integration into our Pro portal and a unique EMR sharing via link sharing. So linking soon to be meal plans into your protocol notes that you can click on, and your client is still able to access a dynamic meal plan where it will just pop open EatLove. They can click around, they can add their groceries to their grocery list, order online, and really do that end-to-end service, bypassing that whole static aspect of it. where they're not pigeonholed into something that you are creating for themselves, but they're fishing for themselves. We're giving them the tools to and the power to do that themselves. So if you guys have any questions on where to find links, you can do links to the daily log section. You can link to recipe collections. Every single recipe has its own unique link, that those are already available for you, and also team members if you have team members inside of EatLove. But also meal planning links will be coming soon, probably within the next couple of days or so. So why is EatLove different? Instead of taking into consideration that one factor that we started with, make me a 2,000 calorie meal plan, and it's still not meeting that criteria, we are taking at minimum probably 5 criteria in terms of a nutrition prescription. So calories, all 3 macros, and a vegetable. That's a minimum. So we are asking it to do 5 different things. But not only that, there may be more to that prescription. We may have some supplement that we're tracking. We may have some whole grains that we want to get in there. So at the end of the day, a general healthy template, I think, has 11 different nutrition parameters. So it can do so much more in that aspect. But we have to pair that with the lifestyle factor. We have to pair it with their skill level, their family size, their allergies and avoidances, culturally affirming recipe recommendations, optimizing for food waste and leftovers. So what that really means is that EatLove is taking into consideration 5 million different dietary and lifestyle factors. Some of those that I had listed right below. So a lot more going into it, a lot more computing, knowing that your information with your client is going to be secure and safe, and it will not give them anything at all if it's not meeting the criteria that we have defined and laid out for that prescription. So what goes into that prescription? Well, we have their health assessments, we have anthropometric data, medical diagnoses, laboratory information, and it contains allergy elimination diets. And then we have the non-clinical factors, the lifestyle preferences. This is just a subset list. We have probably a lot more than that. And that result is something that is 100% personalized for that person. So I do want to do like a quick 3-minute demo of just what that prescription looks like at scale. And Leslie, just remind me that I want to reshare this to get your download book whenever we come back to this page. All right. So over here, we are in EatLove Pro. And I'm going to click on my test client down here, Linda. So all of those factors can be shown. Here's those preferences. We can do this. I'm going to do a 7-day plan just so you can see it. We'll do an intermediate level. Here are some boosted words of things that she likes to get. We also have cost per serving per meals if they are on a budget and don't want to exceed $3.50 for breakfast and $5 for dinner. You can program those in there as well, and it still will hit. We can turn family members on for a specific meal so it populates at scale, makes that grocery list really easy. Here are our avoidances. I could say eats all things, but I don't eat peanuts or soy. I can select a cuisine type, milk type, rice type, and I'm going to repopulate my prescription over here so that I can get what I'm looking for. So our nutrition prescription, we have about 55 plus of the common conditions, health conditions, lifestyle goals. You can see them all here. They're all editable. So you can take multiple comorbidities, pair them together, because we give you a prescription for each one of these. So you just have to figure out where they overlap so that you can program it specifically for your patient. So let's say we want to use a general healthy diet, and they are also managing a little bit of high cholesterol. Also, anything can be paired to a weight management goal. You would just program that in this page. So another factor that we're considering is that calorie deficit. So maybe with that high cholesterol consideration, I just want to bump my fiber up a bit, and I want to make my saturated fat a bit more strict, and I want my sodium to come down for the max. And we're going to leave it like that. We can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 nutrition parameters just for this, where it has to meet at a minimum and not exceed a maximum. We are giving a literal dosing of nutrients that can be defined as that prescription. Now you can add additional things. We have over 100 micronutrients and additional food groups that you can add. So if I wanted to do a whole grain minimum, if I wanted to put like 2 whole grains in for the day, I can do that. If you want to track some supplements, I can do like a vitamin D, and I'll just, if it's no min or max, it's just tracking. So if they log their food, they'll be able to see that. And all of that information that we just talked about, I'm going to let my computer save, and then we click on meal planning. And in a couple of seconds, I have that full breakfast, lunch, and dinner snack meal plan in seconds. So you can see that here. What's really great about this is if it's there and it's there in its entirety, we know that it matches the nutrition prescription. We don't have to go in and change anything because we would let you know if it's not meeting the needs. We do not hallucinate our meal plans. EatLove does not, our technology does not hallucinate. So it will with certainty be meeting those minimums and not exceeding those maximums. So at this point, you can recommend to your client, you can grab that link here and actually share it with them too. Copy that and plug it into your browser, and your clients can access that at any time. And from there, your clients can take this meal plan and edit it the way they want to edit. They have this exact same screen when they log into their meal feed, and it will allow them to choose for their nutrition requirements, and they can pick whatever they want at any time and actually schedule those changes. So really that is the biggest difference and really the bread and butter of EatLove that I wanted to convey today, just with the major differences in terms of automation. You can absolutely use the education resources. Yep, Julia, that's a great question. You can do that. We have a way to do PDF downloadable. That's just a slight upcharge to your plan. And you're able to use that for lead gen. You're able to use that as a urgency creator, which is lack of a better word, to get into your program, or you have 72 hours to upgrade. And if you do, I give you my PDF downloadable of healthy holiday recipes. So you can absolutely use those for lead generation in that sense. It's a really great way for that. And I also do marketing with EatLove and lead gen. I do recipe collections every month for my memberships and community. And from that, I can actually plug those links into my social media, knowing that 99% of people really aren't going to be able to access that information. So it catches interest and urgency for people like, oh, I really want that recipe. You know, how do I get started with the meal plan so that I can access those links that you are sharing to your page? So that's how I would use it, Julia. Yes, Allison, you can print the PDF recipes. No, so you can print them, absolutely, but it is a charge at this time. That is for admin resources and also just the proprietary piece of our recipes. We want to keep our service at the top level, and we want your service to be that as well. So we don't want these recipes to flood the internet. We want your experience to be unique to you so that you have that higher level of service. So you will, if you do want to download PDFs for that recipe, you can go through us to do that upsell to your membership, and you can distribute it as long as you are an EatLove member. So I'm going to pause there, share the links. I know, Leslie, you have to jump very soon, but here is Leslie's 7 critical keys for a profitable practice. I think you can grab that link or type that link into your browser, and you should be able to access that. So I know we're at the top of the hour for everyone. So if you do have follow-up questions, if you want to message our support line at eatlove.is, please feel free to do so. We will be able to answer those later today. And then for anyone that is new to EatLove and does not have an account yet, you are able to create a free one at this link at eatlove.is/pro/medical and get started with 2 free client seats. So I want to wrap it up there just in the essence of time. Leslie, did you have any other final thoughts or wisdom to pass on to our community today?
Yeah, well, I just want to thank everyone for having me. And my encouragement would be to look at building out your profit pyramid. Okay. And, utilize AI where appropriate to assist you, but definitely don't go all in and trust the output, right? We're not quite there yet. So yeah, but I always say the world is your oyster, guys. Seriously, there's so many cool things that we can do to build your business. So if I can be of service in any way, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to help.
And everyone, I just put Leslie's link in the comments. If you're not able to grab it from the slide, I don't think you can. You can just grab and copy that link and pop that into your URL to go from there. And then same with the EatLove /pro/medical account, same thing there. But thank you all so much for being a wonderful audience. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season with your friends and family. Thank you so much, Heidi. Good to see you as always. Thank you, Jess. We will talk soon, and have a great rest of your week. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.